2 drops a day. Nice, Flossie. Flossie Ahova. Atlantis, dude, my insides. For you people watching this on YouTube, you're like, what? His insides? I just came here for a portfolio review. Graffiti, what's up, man? Okay, I don't know how to say this name, but I'm gonna try. Is it Amanpreet? Amanpreet? I don't know. I don't know. I like it though. Okay. So your portfolio starts in 2018. Sculpt challenge. Nice. I won't click on this just because we're gonna blast through this stuff. Make sure you get the information you need. Right, let's see here. Oh, dude, this one's cool. I'm feeling it. Can we get another Mask movie? I think that might be pretty cool. It might also be horrible, but all the people who watch the original would love it. Oh, man. Oh. Oh. It's good. With Jim Carrey again? Dude, I think he could do a pretty good job. Wow. Wow, that's pretty good. Ah, love it. All right, next up. Oh, you're at Daruva as well. I think I've actually worked with Daruva before. We should probably see if you had any anything you wanted me to say. Give me a second here. All right, so you have actually quite a long message. You would love to have your portfolio review after the Japan challenge. Yes. Thank God I've been terrible at streaming. So probably post in November. Nice. I think we had a talk last January on Artstation regarding what I wanted to pursue. I want to pursue as an environment artist, but I'm also not possible in India. There's always a possibility. It'll happen. There are mostly outsourced studios, so you have all kinds of things: props, environment, level work, foliage, buildings. Environment artist is an interesting position because depending on what studio you're in, it could change. Projects change frequently. I work with vegetation most of the time. Specialization is not successful here. Yeah, so generalist in India tends to be the better of the bunch. Sorry, I'm reading this real quick, guys. What can I do to make my portfolio look better? So you're asking what your portfolio can look good to be hired at Ubisoft. That I wouldn't ever focus on the name like that. I would look at it as like, if you want to go to a big company or a big publisher that owns and runs a lot of studios, that they all are kind of looking for the same thing. It boils more down to the studio you're interested in, right? And what you're interested even more so. There are thousands of things to do and learn. Dude, you're going to be learning forever, just so you know. Bye, Graffiti. Love you. Okay, bye. Oh, you've got knowledge in Houdini, too. Okay, so let's look at the quality of your props. Oh, this is cool. So the only thing I would say is that, so this shot is pretty cool. There's something about the depth feels nice. The execution of the buildings is lacking quite a lot. It tends to be quite simple in complexity. And you can do a lot with like the edge of like where these wood beams end. Like you can map it to a texture of wood beams where the end is kind of got a little bit of a fray to it, and then the face of it you can map to like another Man, oh, I wish I had more time. I could actually just sit there and do it. But like thinking about, you've got the side of a piece of wood, like the face where you can see all of the grain and the rings, and then you've got the sheer side of it where you can see like the grain itself, like across the board, this side. So you could make a texture where you have the face and you've textured that the side with all the rings, and then you make a tileable texture of the side view of the wood, and you can just UV those, and where all these end, you could have like a texture sheet that's got like 5 or 6 different end points of the wood texture, and then you can just map them all to the sides here, and that'll instantly draw more attention to the detail. The other thing I would say is everything is very boxy, so like bevels are your friend. Making a hard edge and doing a force normal on a bevel are basically the same thing, because with a hard edge you split the normals, so you're paying for extra vertice information anyways. The other thing is everything is very samey color. Like this one's pretty cool. I think this handkerchief could use a double-sided. I think it's single-sided. And the brim of this hat could use like a nice kind of like crease, so that it doesn't look so low poly. Those edges there, like you could just add more geo to it. See, with these materials, they're good, but they're lacking the complexity of like Bacon. What's up, man? They're lacking the complexity of natural randomization, if that makes sense. Like all of this kind of like if I saw the back of this, I know it's gonna look the same. Whereas if there's like a root that, like, obviously not this material, but if there's like a root that goes across, you get that breakup where it's like, oh man, I bet looking at this sphere from any side is going to be interesting. Whereas like I know what the back is going to look like, so it's like it's not complex. It's quite a simple material. And then think about the roughness difference between the sand and the rocks. Also, like when you think about, so the sand that's on the ground is the same as the rocks, right? They're the same material. When it comes to like ground, like how sand forms, right? Sand and the rocks that are with it are the same stones. The sand has just been around longer and has been broken down and has become like a fine grain. So they're going to be pretty similar in color, unless they're a different rock makeup. Which might be why some of the bigger rocks are a slightly different color. Maybe they're made out of a different material. So that can happen, but they will affect each other, especially the finer grain sand is going to like kind of tint or tinge on the material. Oh, I did tons of work on the new division. Yes, so this is pretty cool to see. I always love these as well, seeing like your thought process for how you lay out things. Oh man, yeah, see all that information? There's a lot of color in here too. I think you're missing out quite a bit on all that color. All right, let us and tomatoes. Let's keep moving on here. So this one's pretty cool. See, again, it's like it's lacking so you've got the overall base. These are very straight, by the way, but you've got the overall base going on of like grass and all that stuff. But you want to watch out for things like, we got 6.5 minutes. Let's keep going. I'm like, I got a little clock that's keeping me on track. So you've got your tree here, right? But if you like having bushes that are around that help ground, because you think about it, a tree is going to protect everything that's near it, right? From really heavy winds, and if a lawnmower came through here, you know the grass next to that tree is going to be longer because the guy didn't go through and just get all that grass too. right? So it's kind of the same thing happens in the environment naturally. So you're going to get some protection near the trees. So you're going to have like little spots of bushes and stuff. And it doesn't have to be bushes. It can be different types of plants, because you're going to want like, I see there's no red flowers here, but there's a lot of red flowers here. And that's kind of getting there. That's getting into that territory where materials and reference is key. Yes, Rick. Ricky is right. So that natural breakup is very important. Like if you're using a color map to tell it where flowers are going to grow and where plants are going to, like, bushes are going to show up, dude, reference is always key. Of course, as usual. I'll see if I scroll down here. Whoop. It's starting to get it with the rocks. This stuff's good too. Photogrammetry, nice. That looks fun. There's some weird skewing that's happening for I guess maybe you made the photogrammetry and tiled the bark, and then you applied that tiled photogrammetry bark to these hand-built trunks. You know, when I hear trunks, all I think about is Dragon Ball Z. It's very weird. It's my childhood struggle. Let's see what else we got going on here. But like the map I was talking about, where flowers show up and where bushes show up, if you procedurally let it place itself, like, you can think about that map kind of like a nutritional map. It's the map that says, hey, the soil here is really nutritious, and there's a big tree here, so around that tree it's going to be blocking a lot of light, so maybe the larger plants are going to shrink down, or like lower ground foliage is going to kind of stay near the base of that tree and not necessarily try and fight for sky opportunities, I guess what you would call it. When am I finishing the critique? In 3 minutes and 54 seconds. And then I've got 2 more portfolios and then an hour of Discord critiques. So we got a ways to go. There's some nice variety on this. I like the breakup you've got going on here. Grass is starting to look a little repetitive in the way that it clumps. So watch out for like that stuff. But the variety is really good. Like, you've got some different stuff here, and these like aren't dandelions, are they? Is it Olmed? No, I haven't done myself, but it's pretty well. I've kind of done it in Moto, but it's pretty straightforward. If you understand the concept, it's just like, it's a mask and it tells things where to go. You have that mask be procedurally affected by other things like roads and things like that. Horizon Zero Dawn did it very, very well. Ollie? All right, Ollie. I'll remember that, or I'll try to. So the reason you're getting the repetitive shapes in here is because you're placing these clusters. So if you think about it, what's saving you right now is this base here. So you've got a base that I can't show you with that. There we go. So you got a base that's wide like this, and then a smaller one and a smaller one. And if you look at the height, right, you've got a height that's going on like this. Let's do that. We'll simplify the image. So that's essentially the shapes you've got going on. You will see those shapes eventually if you keep placing them the way that you are. I'll hide this really quick. Oh, my brain. So these are helping quite a bit, and those are going to be probably clustered together and varying in height. You've got some varied height here, which is good. But when you scroll up and look at this guy, so I would be weary of making these ones tall when the ones below it are going to, I almost pointed at the screen, the ones below it are going to be doing that for you. Concentrate on the grass filling out the space. So like this one combined with this one next to it turned into a cluster of like 6 or 7 of them at different distances from each other. So you get some like natural kind of interaction with them that you've hand placed yourself, and then taking that cluster and placing it around. Brock. Yeah, so let's keep going down here. Got a minute to go. This is great. I love this stuff here. These posts could use some bevels. You can do some great things if you add a couple cuts in there, and you can bend the wood a little bit or skew it a little. You love it when I talk about vegetation. I'm like, oh, it's so vegetationable. This is pretty cool. Is that American Eagle? What? Barrel looks pretty good. It may be a tad bit too saturated. And the palette, I would check the scale of the palette to the barrel. This stuff's nice though. I like how you've generated this stuff. Oh, and your ref, nice. All right, let's do a quick look through here. We barely got to your more recent stuff. Let's go here. Oh man, okay, I'll do it. I will bite. Oh, right. So this looks pretty well executed. I think you could use some more like the finer normal information that you get through a detail normal. It's missing the sharpness. And you're having the issue with the grass being in those clumps. You see what I'm talking about? The little details on the ground is great though. Just gonna let this keep going for a little bit. A little bit of the foliage hanging down like you have here would be really nice. Go green or go home. So you see how it's going. When the video fades in, it's still. Oh, this song is weird. Hang on. That song weirds me out. Weirds me out on stream. I'm fine listening to it by myself. It's fine. So it's nice that it's still because you can see that there's this dust blowing around. There's some atmosphere. Man, the distance shots in there. This is really nice overall. Presentation wise, I would stop and think and listen. No, I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right. I would look at the way that it stops at the beginning and fade in already moving. Because it's gonna just feel more dynamic that way. And have it fade out before it stops moving. Because the stop and go feels very strange in a single shot. If you have a longer video starting, like a 2-minute video or a 1.5-minute video, that starts with fly-throughs, and then there's different shots of fly-throughs, and you're blending between those, then it can be okay to start still. And then when you start panning in one direction, you continue the panning of that direction in the next shot, and you kind of steer the direction of that pan. Say you're going all right on the first shot. Second shot, it should be going right as well, preferably at the same speed so it's not a little jarring. And then the third shot, if the third shot's going up, maybe the second shot before it ends is already starting to move upwards so that you get that natural transition. And even though it's cutting between multiple shots, you're blending that smoothness. You're blending and making it smoother. That's pretty cool though. And I'll check this one out and then we will move on. So this one looks pretty nice. I think you're suffering a bit on the grass. It just feels really thin and kind of wiry. I think if you were to take a virus, buddy, dude, 18 months, and you're on your 13-month streak. Long time no see, dude. I know it's been a while. It's been a little bit in a while, but we're back. I love that you're doing a different lighting scenario. It's really cool. The mood and atmosphere is pretty spot on. I think it's just the grass. The trees a little bit as well up close. In the distance, they're fine. The leaves might be a little bit too close, which is causing them to become solid clumps. If you cut your leaf count in half, it'll probably look more natural. And if it doesn't look full enough, you just add more cards so that it fills up naturally instead of just like the leaves are melting together, because as they get further away, the texture mips down, and when it mips down, that means the texture is lowering in resolution, which means the alpha is lowering resolution, which leads to like little gaps between the leaves just filling in, and then all the leaves melt together. So watch out for that stuff. Oh, we got to see this in motion. This one's 16 seconds long. This has a nice mood to it. See, if it started panning down the river, that'd be pretty cool. I think you're missing a lot of detail on the ground. Like you can add tons of little plants. There's different, like tons of different plants that are scattered around, little rocks, just anything to storytell. Like you're starting to storytell with this here, with the boat. Like maybe put some buckets over here, or like some footprints that are in the mud. This is good though. I mean, you're getting better. It's just the resolution of the materials and the fidelity that you're shooting for can be higher, and make sure you're using normal detail normals, because like you've got the wood material here and maybe there is a detail normal on it and I'm just not catching it in these renders. Watch out for temporal anti-aliasing, and that it's looking really temporal anti-aliasing will muddy up the details and like soften everything. Tries to clean up the noise. But some of that noise is your detail normals. So you got to watch out for that. You could artificially sharpen it a little bit. And I've gone on for way too long. Anyways, this is looking super good. Look into your materials. Careful with going a little too dark. And go crazy with the propping. Add like small little details all over the place. And storytelling. Oh, I can breathe. Thanks for sharing your portfolio. This is awesome. All right, I'll be right back. Next one's coming up.